You could hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Who is Leah Buendias for people who don't know you? How would you introduce yourself in your own words?
My name is Leah Buendias, artist formerly known as L-Dubsky. I'm a reformed hoodlum. Now I'm like a Mother Teresa in the hood.
What's one thing from the past that shaped you the most into who you are today?
I couldn't pick just one thing. There's so many things that shaped me into who I am. So I would say all 39 years of my life shaped me into who I am today. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the past, and the current all shaped me into who I am today.
And you said before you know what it feels like to be muted. What does that mean to you?
To be muted feels like you're screaming at the top of your lungs. Like if you were watching a movie and you had the volume all the way at the highest and all of a sudden you hit mute and the person on the TV is saying something important, but it's on mute, so you can't hear it and you don't have any subtitles on either. Being looked over, nobody taking the opportunity to get to know you or to hear you, to see you for whatever reason, whether you're on drugs and people just see you as like another bum on the street, just another fiend. Like when you're driving down, getting off 95 and you see the people with the signs up asking for money and you always try to turn your head and not see them. That's it. Unmuted is more than just about not being heard. To me, it's like about not being seen as well, or someone can see you and hear you and not understand a goddamn thing you're saying.
What was the breaking point, the moment you said, nah, I gotta create something of my own?
Before I answer that question, I want to preface it with some of my credentials, and then I'll get to that. So the inspiration for 302 Unmuted came from me for the past 6 or so years watching videos of people going down Kensington and interviewing the addicts. I started watching a guy named Frank who runs a channel on YouTube called Morals Over Money, and Frank was the only person I ever seen come from behind the camera and talk about himself and his story, right? And there's AML films. We all know who's behind the camera. His name's Mal, but I don't recall ever seeing his face, right? I also don't know what his credentials are. So I feel like a lot of the time, people that record them videos, they give people a couple little $10, go get your little fix, get what you need, and I'll pay you for the interview. So is it like really genuine, or is it like a little low-key exploitation? That's how I feel in my eyes. Me being an addict, me being someone that's been homeless multiple times and been down Kensington for a huge chunk of my life, homeless and addicted, I don't really like how a lot of them people come off. They see which person has the most dramatic or gets the most fans, and then like the addicts be like celebrities on YouTube. My credentials are: I am an addict. I started using heroin at the age of 17. I had a couple years clean in between time, and I stopped, I think at like age 33 for good. So New Year's Eve 2020 was my last time getting high. I went from heroin, which went into fentanyl, which went into xylazine when I stopped. I've also been homeless, like I just mentioned. While being sober, I've been homeless with my children, being separated from my oldest child, having my younger two dragged through it for 13 months with me. Both of them scenarios, I've always felt unseen and unheard. Even now, having a home, not being on drugs, I still feel like I'm not heard the way that I would like to be heard. So now that I've gotten all that out of the way and gave you my credentials, the aha moment for me was last week. I was in the shower and I got a calling from God, and God told me that I needed to start using my platform and my social media. I need to create some type of platform or some type of space for other people to be seen and to be heard.
When you dreamed up 302 Unmuted, what gap did you see that needed to be filled? In particular, why did you pick Delaware?
So Delaware is where I lived since I was a child. Delaware is where I've spent majority of my life. Delaware is where I'm at. Wilmington is where I'm at. It might not be where I grew up at my whole life, but it's where I'm at now. You see addicts and homeless people being interviewed up in Philly. You see addicts and homeless people being interviewed down in Baltimore. I don't really see too many addicts and homeless people being interviewed in Delaware. I really don't see that at all. I have seen people interview people in recovery for their story of hope. Let me make one thing crystal clear to anybody who sees this. This ain't just about addicts and homeless people, what I'm doing right now. This is about anybody. This is a platform for, you'll see somebody come on here with a clothing line to advertise. You'll see somebody come on that might want to spit 16 bars and hopefully the right person come across their 16. This is for anybody that needs to feel seen and heard. It's not exclusive, it's all inclusive to anybody in Delaware.
What kind of voices are you most excited to bring on this platform?
Any and all voices that have felt muted.
Why would you say it is important to you that it isn't just about trauma, but also about creativity, hustle, and expression?
I'm gonna tell you why it's important, right? Because like most of the time, people nowadays with technology and with the economy are so preoccupied. Like I'm talking about the average person that works in like the average square, right? Go to work, come home, cook dinner, homework with the kids. Then you laying in bed watching BMF or scrolling on TikTok or whatever the case, right? If people just took the time to be mindful and practice mindfulness, and to me, mindfulness looks like going outside and busting it up with the people outside of my apartment building, being in their good graces because my babies play outside. I want to know everything about these people. Come to find out, one of them was shot 10 times and hit by a car and still living. One of them writes poetry. One of them's working on a book. One of them used to be a rapper. That's me. But nah, like there's so much talent. There's so many roses that grow from the concrete, and unless you're paying attention, if you're not so glued to your phone that you could actually take the time to smell the roses that grew from the concrete, you'll miss them.
How do you hope this platform changes the way people look at each other in the community?
From the outside looking in, if I look out my window right now, and even when I'm feet on land, because this is all going to be very organic. This is all from the muscle. This hasn't even been advertised on no social media yet, right? Or nothing. It's straight word of mouth, me talking to people, me walking around and putting flyers up like we're still back in the days before social media was a thing. That's what I'm doing to advertise. I'm telling people to spread the word. I'm just approaching people just very organically, like, damn, I see the pain behind your eyes. Can you share it with me? You mind if I pull out my camera? So what I hope that it brings awareness to is, first of all, a lot of people don't even know what the fuck Wilmington, Delaware is, let alone Delaware, right? Like before I moved to Delaware, I thought Delaware was like a county in PA. I thought I was moving to Delco because I was young. The rest of the country or the world don't know what Wilmington, Delaware is. Yeah, people from Australia know about Kensington, but don't nobody know about Delaware. But what you do see about Wilmington, Delaware on Scoops or 302 Steppers on Instagram, it's all negativity. I'm trying to, even though you may hear a story or, you might see an interview on a page where somebody's talking about some trauma, that they may have not. I walked up to somebody yesterday and interviewed them and they just started verbally vomiting on me, bro. I cannot imagine the last time that young man had somebody ask him, what's going on with you? How are you feeling today? And everybody is important. There's so much peer on peer violence going around, whether it's homeless people versus homeless people, black on black, in the drug community. You got all these little niche communities out here. And you see it. You see it just by walking around and being aware of your surroundings for a couple of weeks. You peep what's going on. And it's so much hate. When I got sober, I was reborn with like a heart full of love. And I tell my children every single day when they walk out the door and go to school, operate from a place of love, because I do. And my way of showing love to someone could either be telling them an act of service or just an opportunity to feel seen and heard. It needs to be more about spreading love than hate and negativity. People should all be vibrating at a higher frequency than they are. And especially in crowded inner cities, there's a lot of low vibrational demons that attach themselves to people, and it's scary out here.
How do you want people to feel after watching or listening to 302 Unmuted?
That's a very broad question. It depends whose interview you're watching. They're going to pull certain feelings out of you depending on who you see and what they say. You may be compelled to go buy this person's clothing line they're selling. You may be a record exec wanting to sign somebody. You might hear a sad story and you might be like, what's their cash app so I can send them a couple dollars, or like, how do I get a hold of them so I can send them a care package, or you might want to message me and send resources. And that I'm always open to. If you got any resources, if somebody has something and you've been there and done that, send all the resources. I'll make it my due diligence to go find that person and give them said resources. So again, yeah, it just depends on what story you hear is how you're gonna feel. I don't even know how I'm gonna feel when I interview these people.
Someone out there is watching this and feels like their voice doesn't matter. What would your message be to them?
To never stop saying whatever you're saying that you feel like it doesn't matter, because I promise you, one day you will come across somebody who your voice matters to. Sometimes for me, the only person I feel like my voice matters to is God. I talk to God daily, and God is the one that told me that I need to do this. It's my assignment. So keep speaking, and don't ever let anything make you feel unseen or unheard. There's children that are told that, children should be seen and not heard. I have girlfriends personally, I know that they don't feel seen or heard because they're in a financially abusive relationship where they don't get to go out and work. So their significant other basically has all financial control and they feel like they don't matter. Again, I know I sound repetitive, but the addicts, the homeless people, they feel like they don't matter. There's people in relationships who might feel like their voice don't matter, and you just have to keep talking. And maybe you just have to say it in a different way. Maybe what you're saying might be a foreign language to the person you're saying it to. So you might just have to figure out a different way to convey your message.
Okay, let's say 5 years from now. How do you want 302 Unmuted to be remembered?
I hope 302 Unmuted is one of them channels that takes off the ground running. Something from a higher dimension than this one. It is telling me that this opportunity is going to lead to another opportunity, and maybe that wasn't meant for me. Maybe it was meant for somebody that I'm going to interview. I'm not really in it for the monetization. I'm not in it to make money. It's just something I was assigned from God to do. If it can give one person hope, if it can help one person fulfill a dream of theirs, if it could bring awareness to somebody about a specific subject, then guess what? Mission accomplished. I'm literally just here to share my testimony and to help others have a platform to share theirs. And that's it, and that's all. God bless you, and I hope you enjoy all of the future interviews we have to come.